There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left.
From your glade.
That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
I think it's important for this episode for me. For what was important for me is that I wanted to get back to what it's like to be the child inside.
Yeah, this is you as the adult outside? This is it? Because right now we make a good career, we make a nice living just telling jokes about our cocks. This is you adulted.
That's me as an admiral. That's me as a man of industry. That's me as the head of a household. And what nobody fucking understands is that I'm standing up for this. Is nobody understands is that the head of a household, how much pressure's on the father. And no one wants to say anything bad about, the mother. How good the mother is.
Wow.
But sometimes it's the father that has, what kind of internal investigation we're having over here? Over the father with the whole family.
Well, and what a way to start the show. A strange, empathetic approach to the father. Welcome to the last podcast on the left,
everyone. You have to get back to the boy. You have to get back to the boy. Boy who's inside who knows he's got to tap dance, because if not, I'm going to get shot in the back of the head with Mommy, Tina, Bethany, and we're all going to be laid execution style in the ballroom because I wasn't funny enough at lunch. I'm upset.
I know, you've made everyone upset. What's up, everybody? As I said, this is the last podcast on the left. I am Ben, hanging out with Henry and Marcus.
No one appreciates the father.
People appreciate the father. There's a whole day for the father. It's very nice. The father goes, he makes the money, he shuts up, and he grills. That's the dad.
No, he's supposed to stand silent outside, looking at an American flag, drinking a PBR with a fly swatter and a bag of charcoals next to him, and no emotions, not a smile or a frown.
I think you just described what Randy Quaid is doing right now. All right, everyone. Why are we talking about fathers? Because today's episode, it's all about the family. Unfortunately, not all families.
Focus on the family.
Do
That's
not say
us.
focus on the family. I'm still traumatized by Dr. James Dobson, air quotes Dr. James Dobson. The man should be in prison for everything that he's done wrong. No, we're not doing focus on the family. We are talking about a different way to destroy your family other than corrosive religious beliefs. Let's talk about John List. This story is, I'm going to say this. I'm happy that my dad never did that to me.
You know,
so I'm going to say this right now. Let's all thank our fathers for us being here. Thank you, Dad.
Let's do thank you, Dad. Thank you, Daddy, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Daddy.
I'm not going to say thank you, Daddy. Both of you guys are disgusting, and nobody ever wanted to hear it. Ugh.
But there is actual destructive religious beliefs already. They are in this episode.
Okay, good.
And it's riddled with
Central to it.
This topic, the family annihilator, is fascinating to me because right now I know you're sitting there. Some of you have families, and you're looking at them.
Everyone kind of has a family.
Yeah, I'm seeing, but some people have made families.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, family you've created.
Yeah.
Okay.
And right now, I bet you're looking at your kids and you think, like, I did a pretty good job. If one of them's not, like, wasn't like, at the Capitol last week,
I mean, I don't know.
You're sitting there and knowing that I've done a good job, but also at the same time, couldn't you think that if you had a second chance to make a new family,
right,
you could actually do like a lot better with the new family?
No, so don't do it. Multiplicity, they just get worse and worse. The first family, I'm sorry to say, that was your best shot.
I don't know.
So the kid that you're looking at right now eating Play-Doh, the other kid who is actively looking at the toilet for some reason, those are the cream of the cream of your cream.
But you could look up to the Bobby Bonilla family annihilators, John List. You can look up to him and say he knew he just needed to blow one family out of the pipe first and then remake a new family.
Okay, so this is about reincarnation. Oh, great. All right,
It's about growth.
Okay, let's talk about John List. This guy is a monster.
John List was an American mass murderer who shot and killed his entire family one by one over the course of an entire day on November 9th, 1971.
That's my mom's birthday.
No shit. List, however, is unique in the world of family annihilators in the fact that he got away with it for 18 years and even managed to remarry under an assumed identity. Now, while John List was certainly looking for the reset button that so many family annihilators are after,
Slamming that button, slamming that button, slamming that button.
he mostly killed his family because he was failing financially and figured that his wife and kids were better off dead than poor. Additionally, John List was also highly religious and believed that if he simply up and left, his children, who were already drifting away from the church, would renounce Christianity and therefore find themselves in the flames of hell.
Get me there, send me to the Father.
You know, it's actually pretty nice. I died with a bunch of SPF 1000 in my asshole. They didn't take it out. So hell, it's pretty cool for me.
It's actually kind of nice. It's
I
like
feel
Palm
that.
Springs in
Yeah.
August.
As far as personality went, John List's defining trait was that he was terribly, incredibly, almost pathologically dull. So dull that his dullness actually becomes a source of fascination.
I'm so dull that my dullness reaches down to the epicness of total chaos.
John List's great passion in life was accounting. But even though he was a perfectly competent accountant, he wasn't what you'd call a people person, which meant he couldn't survive in the corporate waters of the 1960s in which he was trying to swim.
In the 1960s especially, you had to entertain, you had to make meat jello. Yeah, absolutely. You had to, your wife had to wear like one of those like doily shirts where you can kind of see her breasts, and you had to like sit there with like the same cup from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the eggnog cup with the moose antlers on it, and you got to be like, well, Bob, I gotta tell you, the grill outside is, honestly, it never gets cool. Like, you have to be able to mix it.
It's always hot. So he was more boring than your average accountant.
Yes.
So he stood out as it's not exactly a group of extroverts. The accountants are the ones that you have to take the elevator and you hit the button that you never hit. It's like the red button that you have to, and you're like,
the seventh
who
floor?
goes down to the -7th floor?
Yeah, it's just a man with a... You know those guys who hold their briefcases with their two hands in front of their own chests and they have like owl's glasses on? It's those guys. And you're like, what does he do? And, he's like, I crunch numbers. And you're like, don't speak to me anymore. I'm talent.
They also know that people want to shoot them in the heart, so they got to protect themselves with the briefcase because the numbers never lie, and sometimes the numbers tell you you're broke.
Well, John List failed again and again. And although he could have lived a perfectly normal middle-class life, middle class just wasn't good enough.
Not good enough. That's a real American. That's a real patriot. Is it?
Yeah, and middle class in the 1960s, which today would be upper middle class.
Yeah, have a little fun with it. Go to the Wendy's, go to the McDonald's. Everything is new. Everything is fresh. The 60s were a great time to be middle class.
You don't fucking understand the pressure.
What pressure? You're an
Being a
accountant.
father. The pressure that I feel every day waking up.
You need to go to therapy.
Oh, Wendy. Oh, I am in therapy. And they don't understand the pressure.
So John List took a gun and killed his entire family, including his mother, in a matter of hours. Really, this series is a portrait of a truly American tragedy, from the unnecessarily miserable lives lived by most of the List family to the conclusion that John List drew as the only viable solution to his problems.
Family annihilators have been a subject of curiosity for professors, actually only recently, because it's fairly modern in their prevalence. Because they used to, I was reading this one book that I actually thought was very interesting. It is called Familial Hearts, The Emotional Styles of 211 Killers by Neil Websdale.
That's a shitload of killers.
It's a lot of killers.
Okay.
But it's between this book and a couple other things breaking down what family annihilators are and what is the root cause of why does mostly a white male father of a family wipe out his family. Because a lot of times they've been fighting over what the term familial side even means. They have to like carve out a meaning in this book where he's like, I hold firm. The familial side is when someone kills, you have to kill a spouse and you have to kill at least the majority of your children.
And of course, while killing the majority of the children and killing your spouse, you have to listen to the hit song Wipeout. Wipeout.
That's going to come up again and again. Thank God we're on Spotify because then we can use that song. But his theory is that he breaks family killers down into livid coercive killers and civil reputable killers. Where livid coercive killers are one style of someone that was a physically dominant and violent person that wanted total control of their family.
Someone
And
who the neighbors would say, saw that coming.
Yes, they heard fights, and that the final family annihilation was an expression of like one last spike of violence. Normally when the relationship is about to fall apart, or about to finally leave. The civil reputable ones are what we're talking about essentially today, which is also a mixture of, there's also a term called anomic, which is an economic killing. The idea that like, because of the father's, mostly again, the father's status was threatened economically, because he views that as himself as like soul points, like we do in America, that
Right.
what you're worth financially.
Social credit system in a sense.
Yeah, it's what you're worth as a human being. So they see these things taken away from them. They then look at their family as an extension of themselves, like literally an extension of their of their cum. It's living cum walking around, eating your food, living in your home rent free.
You should never refer to your children as my living cum. If you are a parent out there, please spare them that unbelievable trauma of reminding them that they are nothing more than half cum and half egg.
You are mostly egg. and that's what I say to you, son. You must have got most of the egg.
I'm mostly egg. I don't even know if that's an insult, Dad.
When he killed the families, though, this quote unquote the civil reputable ones, if that's how you want to classify it, it's extended suicide.
Yeah.
So it is
okay.
a way to, that's why normally these end in this suicide of the killer. Normally, the daddy offs himself. Well, we'll see here
It's
with John
half and
List.
half. When as far as how it is, 50% kill themselves and 50% try to get away with it.
Okay.
So now, but we're seeing Mr. List. Like I said, we should better call so we don't get upset. What Mr. List did here is that he saw, instead of, again, truly American, instead of saw this as some kind of tragedy he did to himself, he saw this as an opportunity
Wow.
to change.
Wow, I do have to say it. Boom. Flip it.
Yep.
But before we get into the story of how all this happened, let's acknowledge our sources today. The first is Death Sentence by Joe Sharkey, while the other is Righteous Carnage by Timothy Benford and James Johnston. Out of the two, I'd go for Death Sentence, but both certainly have their merits. Righteous Carnage is the better title, but Death Sentence is the better book.
This is my grandmother moment of the day. It's amazing how many fun creative titles there are. Because every book has a different title, and every book is kind of
Yeah, because
fun.
that's also because of
They
copyright.
are. We
Yeah,
haven't read one book with the same title, but they're always like, whoa.
Yeah, because if every book had the same title,
Not every book. I'm just saying some titles you would think would cross over.
That's true.
But
Yeah,
every
there are-
title is different.
there are
Every
many
title is
different-
good.
Yeah, there are titles that are the.
Some titles
same.
are the same. There
All
are
I know
some
is
that-
if Donald Trump gets a presidential library, only the books that we reference on this show should be in it.
I think that's actually a really good exchange.
you actually can't copyright titles. If I wanted to name a book fucking Gone with the Wind, I could.
What?
Yeah.
And it's
No
just about
shit.
it's just about flatulence.
The best episode we've ever
It's
done.
just about how Marcus Parks likes to fart in empty coffee cans and put them back in the cupboard.
So John Emil List was born in Bay City, Michigan on September 17th, 1925 to John Frederick and Alma List, who were cousins.
Nice.
Okay.
It's great because then your uncle can teach you how to kiss.
Yeah, all in the family indeed. Okay.
Well, Frederick was over 2 decades older than Alma and married her after his first wife died from cancer. In fact, Alma had been the nurse who had taken care of that first wife in hospice.
Okay.
Now,
That happens
I could
more
see
often
that.
than not.
Yeah, I could see that.
Now, throughout John List's childhood, he was treated almost as an afterthought when it came to his father. When the family bought a house, Frederick remodeled, made the top floor a rentable apartment, and made John sleep downstairs in the lounge, never giving him a room of his own.
He was teaching him a lesson about how he has to earn his keep.
I mean, it's going to help out in college when you just couch surf a whole bunch. You're going to be totally comfortable.
Yeah, he's down there with the foosball table, and that's where he belongs, I guess.
I suppose. Would have been
How
nice
are
to have
y'all
a bedroom,
immediately
though.
defending this man?
No, John, listen, no, I'm not. I like to sleep on the couch, though. I actually usually sleep on the couch. It makes me feel comfortable.
Well, Frederick never warmed to his son in any way, and in fact referred to John only as the boy.
Jeez.
But the only things that Frederick passed on to his son was the old Protestant work ethic and a strict adherence to the Lutheran faith.
And also the nickname that stuck with me to this day. Everybody calls me the boy, even though obviously I'm a full-grown man. And oftentimes I have the numbers and the various files of all several different town companies in my hand. And it honestly comes down to when they refer to me as the boy, I actually would refer.
Knock.
Yes?
Hey, are you the boy? I'm supposed. They
My name
told
is
me
John.
I'm trying to figure out
I'm
how much taxes I have to pay this year. They told me to go see the boy.
I am a man. I am.
You are
my
the
name is
boy. It
Mr.
says
Liston.
the boy on the sign.
I wish that would change it, but they simply will not listen to me in the meetings, and I keep telling them, we could really go over certain dividends, and we could talk about it in the fall. I mean, honestly, the fall is a really good time for new business. You want to actually save it up for the final quarter of the year. You want to wrap everything up budget-wise, so...
Thank you, boy.
Well, in Frederick's view, and in the view of many Protestants, a man's lot in life was to work long hours, do as he was told, and spend his free time either reading the Bible, going to church, or finding some other way to exalt the Lord.
Yay, so much fun, so much to look forward to.
Well, essentially, it's the mixing of capitalism and Christianity. The idea that a man exalts Christ through creating capital, all while insisting that capitalism is somehow the most Christ-like economic system when it is, in fact, the least.
You don't remember that whole parable in the Bible when Jesus had the 12 disciples all fight for a URL? He got them in a bidding war for JesusChristSaves.com.
Hey, man, that website's doing great right now.
I mean, in fact, many of the so-called 7 deadly sins, like greed, gluttony, pride, envy, and wrath, are essential to advancing in the capitalist world in the way that people like John List viewed capitalism. In this belief structure, they see sloth and lust as the only sins that matter. To them, being poor is a sign that you have displeased God, and therefore, poor people are to be looked down upon as sinners who are getting exactly what they deserve for having led a sinful life. And of course, they have quite a few things to say about sex as well.
Also, the poor radiate sin. I think that's important to remember in this story, because that's kind of what the idea is, that he constantly thought that the idea is that if you fall below a certain economic line, that not only are you're then lowered into the sin of the poor. You have to go down into the soup and be with them with all the seaweed, the cubes of evil tofu.
Tofu's pretty expensive, actually. So they think that lower economic status is contagion. They're just like, oh, this is actually something. If you hang out with poor people too much, you're going to become one of them. Do they think it's an actual disease? It sounds like that's how they view it, almost like they were smited by God.
It's definitely viewed as if they were smited by God. Like, it is seen, being poor is seen as a punishment, but it's seen as both a punishment and also something that is completely entirely your fault. But usually it's your fault because you have sinned.
Yes, your symptom of a sinner is being poor.
It's strange though, because it really isn't even. That's not even. That's not what the Bible really says about even being poor.
Get out of here, you fucking piece
but it's just weird. Because they do the whole thing. But it's strange they chose to choose that as a narrative.
No. I mean, people like John view Christianity as a set of rules that are used to control the lives of others, while completely ignoring the actual teachings of Jesus Christ, who had quite a bit to say about how the poor should be viewed and treated.
And that's where this book, Familicidal Hearts, talks about like why it's such a modern phenomena, family annihilation, because he says it basically comes with the rise of capitalism and the grind and the idea of industrialism begets like not caring about essentially any sort of emotion whatsoever. It's about driving and making money.
You're only as good as your last paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's specifically a result of the corporate lifestyle. Like, not necessarily like just industrialization or just capitalism. It is corporate. Corporate living that is creating these people that feel that they have no choice but to do this.
We talk about automation, but honestly, people in corporate America, they've been robots for a long time. Whoa. But truly, they are forced to be robots because opinions and thoughts are not allowed. I know that with my 9-month experience working in corporate.
Well, furthermore, and the view of John List's father, Frederick, particularly, accepting any kind of assistance whatsoever, especially welfare, welfare was to admit that you were not a man and you were not Christian. It was not Christian to accept welfare. And Frederick was not alone in this belief in the community where John List was raised. When the Great Depression began demolishing communities in the 30s and Roosevelt instituted New Deal programs to try and save them, Bay City, Michigan refused any assistance solely out of pride, much to the detriment of their community.
Yeah, you might want to get a new mayor. You might want to be like, all of that stuff that's going around, like, we just know.
Oh, there are people jumping from buildings because of economic collapse? No, we don't need those hot dogs.
We're good. We're good.
Now, a man who dedicates his entire life to work in church is naturally going to be a fucking boring person. And Frederick List was just as much of a dull curmudgeon as his son would one day be.
Well, I think one Dennis Rader would have something to say about that. You think wearing panties and killing a whole series of women as you're choking and strangling yourself? You think that's boring?
Honestly, I'd almost describe that as funky.
I think that is a little funky, Mr. Parks. The church, you see, it can be cool.
Good Lord. I love this. I feel like that's one of those, like, going deeper and deeper the longer you spend on the internet, the more you're like, yas, BTK should definitely be celebrated. Look at his outfits, like him tying himself up and taking the pictures of himself, being like, oh, that's amazing. Look at him express himself.
Absolutely funky.
Well, really, the only story anyone had about Fred List was an incident that occurred on Halloween when John List was in high school.
I don't like ghosts. I don't like werewolves. I think that they are homosexuals.
You're going to hate Halloween.
Now, it comes as no surprise that a man such as Frederick List hated Halloween, partly because it involved devils and witches and ghosts, but mostly because it involved giving free candy to children that none of them had fucking worked for.
Costumes are lies. Children don't work. They're not allowed to anymore by their so-called liberal government.
I don't know. It's just fun. We're just trying to have fun because life is really hard.
Ghosts aren't fun. I made ghosts in the war.
Can you pretend I'm one of those ghosts and give me a Mars bar, please?
Yeah, all right. First, let me get
a gun. That's a gun.
Unfortunately, child, I would have to, in order for me to speak with you, I have to look at you through a rifle scope.
Now, naturally, this refusal to take part in Halloween caused a rift between Fred and the neighborhood kids when Fred not only had no treats to give, but actively yelled at any kid who made the request. And so the kids took trick or treat really fucking seriously back then.
Yeah, this is the 1960s, man. You know how difficult it was to
this is the 30s.
This is the 1930s, dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know how difficult it was to get candy? It's not like today. There ain't no Kinder Eggs. Every single shelf doesn't have your, like, impulse buy Snickers. You had to go 100 miles just to look at a bar of chocolate.
I actually don't know if that's true, but I like the idea of it.
I think it's hard. And also, all the candy was just black licorice.
I mean, to tell you, I've walked an hour to get a taco. That is true.
No,
if I heard it's a nice stand in the middle of, like, a weird neighborhood, I'll walk for an hour just to get it. So in the end, that's how you get your steps in, and you feel like you earned it.
Exactly. That's your reward.
Well, in response to Fred, the neighborhood kids did a little ding-dong ditch, ringing the doorbell and hiding in the bushes over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Finally, Fred threw open the door and gave chase, but he stumbled, sprained his ankle, and pitifully wailed in pain on his front lawn.
Respect me! Respect me!
Yo, he did this to himself. Every neighborhood has this house. And
These gophers are a part of the communist agenda! Putting holes in my lawn, they don't own this home!
Oh, what a fun time to be a kid on Halloween when you have righteous indignation over your neighbor and you can actually torment him for one night and just hear him scream and hear him be angry. Oh, that's fun.
Fred List was so disliked in even this community of tight asses that 50 years later, people still told that story. It was the favorite story of the neighborhood.
That's so funny.
And after this whole incident, John List in school was thereafter known by a nickname that would have been fucking awesome on a more chill dude. But on John, it was just kind of pitiful. They called him Trick or Treat Johnny.
Trick or Treat Johnny sounds like his dick can just come out like that. Trick or Treat Johnny.
Whoa, chameleon tongue.
Honestly, that is such a kick-ass name, Trick or Treat Johnny.
Yeah, it's if you are a character from A Nightmare Before Christmas, but he is
Seems like you'd be hanging out with the chicks from Ginger Snaps.
He's sitting in a full suit as a boy. He's like literally sitting as like, because he was a very prim, like just absolutely silent, no friends. And just imagining him with his like My First Ledger, like child's toy, where he's just here like filling out fake numbers at recess, and they're all calling him Trick or Treat Johnny. You know for a fact he's either going to become a spree killer or a senator.
Well, I guess he sort of split the difference there, didn't he?
As far as color goes, Trick or Treat Johnny was all anyone had for John List. Mostly, he was described as simply there, the definition of seen and not heard. He was so obedient that he was punished only twice his entire childhood, once for being unruly in church and once for running in the house.
I still contend it was more of a skip, but if this was a trial, I would need a lawyer. And some evidence to show that I was not running. And unfortunately, if you really look at it, there's not a lot of footage.
No, there really isn't. Not in the 1940s.
John List pathologically obeyed authority at every turn and obeyed his mother most of all. When teachers would ask John why he didn't play with the kids, he'd say, quote,
"Oh no, I can't. Mother doesn't want me to get dirty."
Oh, God, it sounds like you're... What do you mean?
One time, because sometimes I know, like, Mom is just frantic to keep me clean. And one time I spilled some ravioli all on my belly, right, because I was eating with no shirt on, and she just scrubbed it, and monologued about cutting out the root of evil and all these type of things. And honestly, I miss being close with Mom.
Yeah, I guess so. Kids are supposed to play and have fun, though.
Well, according to the movie that we saw, which is wild, it's not good.
No.
Are you talking about the one with Robert Blake, Beverly D'Angelo, and Mr. David Caruso?
Dude, Judgment Day, the John List story, starring Robert Blake as John List, it's very campy, but the whole beginning is just, it really does have John List's mother really erotically washing a little boy. A lot more erotic washing for a TV movie that I haven't seen on something like outside. You remember like Red Silk Diary, like not Red Shoe Diaries,
Silk stockings. That's what you're thinking of. Yeah. No, it was definitely an erotic caress by an older actress on a young boy. It was very strange.
Yeah, I always used to watch Cotton Socks. It was kind of a different adult show. You know what I'm talking
Cotton
about?
Socks just sounds like footage of Paterno just sitting in his fucking lawn chair in the fucking shower.
I don't hear anything.
See, like so many mass murderers and serial killers, John List grew up with an overbearing, overprotective mother who held his hand almost everywhere they went well into his teenage years.
All right, that gets a bit embarrassing.
Yeah. In fact, as a child, they hung out so much that John actually walked and talked like his mother.
You wouldn't believe that bitch Beverly down at the store. She told me the other day, she lied to me about a sale on the oranges. And I told her, you don't tell me when these oranges are going down 10 cents a pound. Well, I thought we were friends. She is written off.
I mean, if he did do
I'm
that,
not friends with
that
her
could
anymore.
be that's actually kind of
She
an
was
exciting...
my best friend last week, but now we're not friends anymore.
Well, see, Mr. Smith is no longer boring. Now he's got hot goss. Now we're friends. Now I want to hang out. What else is going on in this little tiny town?
Well, outside of the home, John was drilled endlessly on Bible verses at the Lutheran Missouri Synod Church, which was the List family's singular outlet for social functions. There, John learned that he was a bad boy who deserved to be punished in literal hell for all eternity for even the smallest of infractions. This fear certainly kept John in line, but it also gave him a sense of superiority over the other children that only made him want to obey the rules even more, because it seemed like that was the only thing that made him feel good.
It kind of feels like the same impulse that makes really good Nazis, where the idea of...
Really good Nazis.
Yeah,
you would think that's the right term.
Successful
Nazis. Not, I didn't say fun Nazis. But the idea that someone so deep down, because he views... That's where he gets his intake from. right? Because in a way, the term covert narcissism also comes up quite a bit when you talk about family annihilators. Because there's this a little bit of, they don't act like it. They act like they're just going along to get along. But somewhere deep inside, this man believes what he is able to do is hold a moral line that other people just don't have the eternal strength to do. They can't hold this line like I hold this line, which is why that's my job. I put a toe in the dam of society so I don't let the seepage of communism and pot smoking no bras come into this world.
Well, maybe
my toe is in the dam. Well, maybe respect the father.
Just get your toe out of there. Just have a little bit of fun. It might loosen you up a little bit, and then you won't have to.
I did notice how fun it was, how nice the tip of my toe, and when it got wet, I thought it was nice.
It was kind of nice.
I hold the line.
Yeah, but like the wings of a plane, you have to bend in order to deal with turbulence. You're a little strict. You're a little too.
Yeah, I'm like a tank ripping through Africa.
Well, that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to be.
Well, John List was one of those guys that, because a lot of us get instilled with that fear of hell at a very young age. I know I had a pathological fear of hell when I was a kid, up through my teenage years, but I eventually grew out of it. Some people don't grow out of it.
They grew me when I was growing up.
Were you truly afraid? Because I know I was
fucking
afraid of hell.
I have something inside of me that is called, I don't think so. It's called I don't think so. And so I remember it was very hardcore Christianity, and I remember they were talking about hell and all that stuff, and I just remember thinking, even at like 6, I was like, I don't think so.
See,
I was like, it doesn't make any sense.
You're like the little glass box, the little person that is the real you inside of your mind that it's like held inside, that saved you.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't think, how would it even work? Doesn't make any sense.
Then I think the problem with that they did with you is that with you, they went over the top. They sold it too hard. With me and Henry, or at least with me, they treated it as this completely normal, everyday thing. That it was just sort of like hell was a place, just like Dallas was a place, and it was made to seem so reasonable and such a normal thing.
Isn't there a place called Hell, Texas?
Well, I don't know.
There is a town called Hell.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but that's more about, they changed that for tourism.
I see.
And,
But yeah, I mean, even
I think it's in Nebraska, actually.
The speaking of tongues thing, I was just like, I don't think that this is going to work out for me.
See, I don't know.
They went over the top.
It wasn't just over the top for him, because I don't see as anything. What is more dramatic than the Catholic Church? Like, we drank blood every Sunday.
But y'all were in ritual, though. That was thousands. Like, those were rituals that were thousands of years old. So that also seems somewhat normal.
I don't want to break it to you, nerds, but it's fucking wine, man. You get hammered off of that.
Oh man, I should have been having fun.
Yeah, it ain't blood. You can get drunk off of that.
But that was John List's problem, is that it was treated as a normal, reasonable thing, and he just never grew out. He was all in, and he kind of liked it, because not surprisingly, he was also pathologically repressed from a young age. He refused to deal with his feelings in any way whatsoever. He was taught to push everything down as far as he could, because it wasn't masculine to complain or admit problems.
Yeah, that'll work. That's going to work out great. Nothing wrong here. Why are we even covering this guy? Didn't he just have a really successful career? And he came out with Gogurt, didn't he? Because of all of his healthy ways of dealing with stress?
Yeah, it's our new series here where we do like successful businessmen.
Yeah, because there's no way that this could lead up to him murdering his entire family. That just doesn't check out.
But there was a book that was written that back in the day that was basically said it was like a big old hit in the 1700s.
It was a hit in the 1700s.
But they said like the idea that like the modern man does not react. He doesn't react. He holds strong and he moves forward.
Well, that can be good, but then also they have to be open in order to observe and absorb what people are going through so they can make the best decisions possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for like pilots.
Yes, that is a good point. Tried and true. Don't fly into a mountain. I just did some research on that German suicide story again.
Oh God,
that's scary.
It's very scary.
I'm just gonna ask every pilot, "How you doing?" And then I'm gonna slip him a little bit of mushrooms. Give him some psilocybin.
It opens their periphery vision to help him fly.
Perfect.
Well, following his father's lead, John came to believe that a man dealt with his problems by working them away and or adhering to church rules, because in John's system, work and God were one and the same, inextricably linked.
I think this is actually kind of nice, though. We always hear about mommy dearest. You know, we always hear about the abusive mother who's wants
Andrea
perfection.
Yates, which is a fantastic story.
Andrea
Another
Yates.
fascinating story.
We always hear about the mom wanting the perfect family and daughter and stuff. But in this case, this is the masculine version of it, right? This is the...
Just wait till we start talking about Helen List. She has her own problems.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as far as what impression John List made as a young man, the people who grew up with him barely remember the guy. If they did, the only details they remembered was that he was tall, snappily dressed, deeply religious, and solitary. He was so boring, in fact, that under the school yearbook's class prophecy section, the only thing said about John was that he would likely wind up in the Army Supply Corps.
Cool.
That's fun. He can hang out with David Berkowitz.
Fucking Lee Harvey Oswald.
Everyone else who wasn't
Wow, there's a lot of people in the
successful enough
Supply
to
Corps.
get killed.
Wow. That's weird. I didn't even think about that. That's true.
And in the Army prophecy, they were partly correct. List graduated in 1943 and joined the Army expecting to battle Hitler and the Nazis.
I honestly just mostly want to go after their tax discrepancies.
But this could have been he could have been good at being a spy. He sounds like perfect for the CIA in some strange ways.
Yeah, the most boring people in the world.
Absolutely, who have body counts.
Yeah. But instead, List was stationed in Louisiana, where he was described by fellow servicemen as prissy and pious.
Now, to be fair to him, in Louisiana, he could have found someone with the same political beliefs as Hitler.
Oh, very easily.
So then he could have attacked him, I guess.
At that time, most of the Nazis were actually here in New York City.
Hey, all right.
We missed it. We got out.
Well, in 1944, List's father died, which didn't seem to bother John one bit. He took leave for the funeral, attended the service with all the energy and emotion of running a slightly inconvenient errand, and returned to base.
That's what his father would have wanted.
Honestly, yeah. Sounds like it.
Well, in 1945, though, John was finally shipped to Europe as part of the final stage infantry campaign across the German border.
It was called Operation Dumbo Drop. Cool.
The man who knew too little.
But pretty soon, his unit was captured by Nazis. But since it was obvious the Nazis had already lost by this point, this is like the final weeks of the war, the Nazis changed their mind that very afternoon and surrendered to John's unit instead.
That must have been a day. Because you started as a prisoner.
What day is that in the war?
Yeah, you watch all these Nazis all like they're all like kind of talking and stuff and just kind of looking at you guys and be like, then they make the international sign for let's switch.
Let's switch.
Yeah, you go like,
we were just gonna.
might want to make a little sit in me with the cop and you out here with the baton.
You want to be the prisoner and you want us to be the
Just for fun.
Just for funsies. Okay,
This
weird.
is actually the most interesting thing John List ever did because he grew up in a German community, so he was the one who actually interpreted the whole thing. He was the one that kind of brokered the peace.
I am the star.
Honestly, by German, especially Nazi Germany standards, this guy's a showman.
But yeah, exactly.
Well, because John was a POW for a whole afternoon, he was awarded the Bronze Star, which was a great source of pride for him.
That's about as long as I could handle being a POW.
Yeah, 10
A long
a.m. to 2
afternoon.
p.m.
Maybe. I think that's the most I could be brave for. I honestly, the under of that is 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, I can immediately just see you like asking what kind of content they like, and then you just trying to figure out what kind of sense of humor they have, and you just desperately
lean
being a
in.
showman. Yeah.
Well, concerning that Bronze Star, what John apparently didn't know was that the Bronze Star was a meaningless morale booster. They just unilaterally awarded it to entire divisions during the final stage of the war.
Yeah, it's like when I got the most improved trophy for Little League.
Everyone does.
No, one did, the worst one, but I got a trophy because they laughed at me. They thought I was funny. I was a funny guy.
Yeah.
But doesn't sound like you improved at all.
No, I was very bad at baseball.
No. It was a participation award. Mm-hmm. So when John returned to the United States after being overseas for all of 34 days, most of which were spent either in transit or waiting to be transferred, he consulted with his mother as to what his next move should be.
And then she lifted her skirt and she's like, back inside.
Oh, God, I can just see.
All right, mother.
I finally just saw the...
Let me get my swimming cap on and let me just, I was just going to need a little butter or something slippery.
I finally saw the sequel to Borat, and I can just see his mother's bush hair, very similar to that actress.
That was the best
She
scene.
was so good, by the
She's
way, in that
fantastic.
movie. That movie was so funny.
Well, together, they decided that John should go for a business administration degree at the University of Michigan in pursuit of a career as an accountant, which John soon discovered was his great passion in life.
Oh,
He
okay.
loved being an accountant.
Well, it's
He was-
because it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Accounting
It's
to
numbers.
him.
It's hard numbers.
It's hard numbers.
And you have information, private information about the person. You do have a power to it.
Absolutely. Well, you not only, you know what it is? It's
As a
people.
matter of fact, we should
in-
call our accountant and just threaten him.
We should make sure he's on his toes.
Yeah, just-
Anthony?
yeah.
Anthony?
You're threatened. I don't know.
But, you know, he gets this, Sid. You also, people put their trust in you. You become a pillar of
Yeah.
the community. That's another very common thread in family annihilators, is that not only, especially this idea, if they're the civil, reputable hearts ones, right? Like the ones that appear quiet and unassuming at the time, that not only oftentimes are they quiet and unassuming, but it's more that they're like, their morality is celebrated by the neighborhood up to a
Well,
point.
because do you want them to be loud and drunk? Like, you never want to walk into your accountant's office and be like, you got a strobe light, huh?
I honestly...
That's kind of cool. How are the numbers looking?
I do think that there should always be bad accountant, good accountant. I do like the idea of two accountants, one guy with a skateboard backwards hat and just being like, let's see how much money we can get to the Caymans. And the other guy is just like, we need to look at the dividends, and I think we should work on deducting more of your expansion of your house.
Also, I'm sorry they've shut down most of the Cayman bank accounts, Henry. So your idea to move your money offshore, it's not going to work anymore.
Don't worry, it's strapped to me right now.
Very good.
Now, John List was perfectly capable of simply being an accountant, but he would fail even in college at any managerial task and showed particularly poor aptitude in adapting to developing situations.
I love the back in the 1960s where they would do is you take an exam and then they would just like shoot like blanks to see if you flinch.
Meanwhile, John was writing letters to his mother talking about his classmates as if they were all the best of friends. But no one in college remembered John List.
Oh, it's sad. He seems very lonely.
Also, it's weird to just, that I feel like the saddest part, which is, again, it's about an internal lie. You begin to learn to lie to your
Right.
own damn self. Because what you're looking at, if he is a true narcissist or a covert narcissist, which I think he is, the concept is that you don't know that you actually are building a persona that is separate from who you are as a human being. Like who you are is scared, rigid, and that not only do you confront anything fucking with your rigidness, you confront it with rage, but no one knows.
Yeah.
No one has any clue that every single time they push you on a rule, they say stuff that you actually see fucking neon red, right? You just hit the top of your rage every single time, but no one knows. You tamp it down, but then you're already writing these lies, being like, and you wouldn't believe we actually all went to a hamburger stand together. Wow. Me, Cyclone Jerry, a man he changed his name to Abraham Lincoln legally. He's hilarious. All this kind of shit, like all lies, because so that
He created his own avatar via the letters.
That's
to
what
his mother.
narcissism is.
Yeah. What was really strange, though, was that John didn't ever go visit his mother. Instead, she would take a 3-hour bus ride to visit him at college in his dorm room for entire weekends.
I've seen that film. I've seen some of those. Don't want to see him anymore. I don't want to see them.
Yeah, weekend at horny Bernadette's.
Oh God, we should honestly
we
write
should
Weekend
not.
at Horny Bernadette's.
You just have sex with a female corpse. That would be the whole movie. If she's dead, Bernadette then theoretically is dead, which makes you a necrophile.
This is actually really true, guys. If you want to die, when you die and you don't care if someone fucks your corpse, you need to put a little sign on you that says, go ahead.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's known in the will as the have at it clause.
Have at it. I'd prefer if you don't do that to me. No need.
So, after 4 unremarkable years, John List graduated with the unremarkable grade of a B average and got a job with an accounting firm in Detroit.
Whoa, hello. I didn't see you put on your elitist cap. I didn't realize that Marcus doesn't believe a B average isn't good enough.
I got a 3.1.
I got a C plus average. I averaged a 2.6. You had to graduate with a 2.5. Ben Kissel does enough.
You know what's funny is that
Ben Kissel does enough. And there's nothing wrong with a B average, B best, B fun, B average.
Man, I'm not throwing aspersions. I'm just saying it's unremarkable. I actually out of the three of us, I actually graduated with the lowest GPA. I graduated with a 2.3.
No shit.
New York Times bestseller.
New York Times best-selling author Marcus Sparks had a 2.3 fucking GPA. That shows you.
Yeah.
It's all about who you know.
It's all us. We propelled Marcus intellectually to be able to sit and write for 2 years straight. Well,
no, all it shows is that I am very bad at things I don't give a shit about. In all my major and minor classes, I got A's all the way across. Everything else, D's.
I got a D in bowling because it was at 8 a.m.
Yeah, I can't show up for that. They did that on purpose. They wanted you to fail out. I hated that. I took bowling at 8:30 in the morning.
It wasn't about bowling. It was about waking up, and you don't fucking tell me this is about bowling.
Yeah,
also,
exactly.
if you're not drinking, it's not bowling.
Yeah, bowling requires drinking. It requires wings. And so you get mad at me because I was drinking before showing up to bowling because then it's not bowling.
What if I never went to bed and then it's not the morning, it's still the night?
Now it's just super late night bowling for me.
Well, when the Korean War came, John was summoned back to duty and did most of his term stationed at Fort Eustis in Virginia. There, his free time was spent either touring Civil War battlegrounds or going to church functions.
Hell yeah.
In September, fuck yeah, bro.
Honestly, it doesn't sound that bad.
No, I do it. I guess I do.
It's kind of interesting.
In September of 1951, though, he and a couple of his fellow officers went bowling in the basement of the Zion Lutheran School, where an alley had been set up to keep the men away from the more sinful bowling establishments.
I just feel like I think the thing that actually keeps you pure in a bowling alley is the other people. You know what I mean? If you start to isolate the bowling alley, don't you think you're going to start sucking each other's dicks in there?
You might. What else are you going to do? Also, bowling alleys, he should have had a little bit more fun, but whatever. That's my advice. If I could have given him some advice, I'd say loosen up a little bit, have a little fun.
Well, it was in this church basement that John List met his future wife, Helen. Now, Helen is one of those people who seem just fucking cursed from birth. And the more bad shit that happened to her, the further she sank into hatred and despair. Physically abused throughout her childhood, Helen ran away from home and married a soldier named Marvin Taylor in 1941, and Marvin was soon shipped off to war. All seemed to be going well, but when Helen gave birth to a baby girl named Brenda the next year, the doctor delivering the child accidentally splashed Helen in the eye with ether.
Lord.
What? This destroyed her eye's muscle control and made her noticeably wall-eyed for the rest of her life, and also limited her peripheral vision.
Was she at Dr. Jerry Lewis's office?
Yeah,
How does
it
this
does sound like a Three
I should have
Stooges.
put all that butter on my hands before delivering the baby. I always do that with the butter on the hands.
It does sound like a Fat Boys movie. And it's really
with
sad
that doctor?
that you become like one of those wall basses because of it too. Like,
take me to the river.
like the eyes separating. And that's a bad look.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can see pictures. It is noticeable on the pictures that are online. Like, her eyes are looking in two different directions.
But the nice thing is she's always the first one to see the plane, and she's always the first one to understand, oh, don't go there. Someone's trying to pass on the left.
Yeah, but guess what, man? She also can't see a tennis ball flying at her nose.
Well, she doesn't have that. That's the problem. This is why you need a partner who can look straight, and then this is actually a perfect marriage made in some version of purgatory or hell.
Well, as far as more children with Marvin went, her next child died when it was 6 months old, and the pregnancy after that was a miscarriage. Tragedy after tragedy.
Yeah.
Now, Marvin survived World War II, but in 1947, he was transferred to Korea, where he picked up a good old-fashioned case of syphilis, which he soon passed to Helen.
You mean the lover's flu?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure if you were in love with the woman that gave you syphilis in Korea.
I was in love for a full minute and 15 seconds.
Typical.
Now, about half the people who get syphilis are completely asymptomatic and carry it their whole lives without any adverse effects.
Really?
Most people
didn't know
who get
that.
half the people who get syphilis don't show any signs whatsoever.
So, guys, no condoms.
No condoms. And what I always like to do before I have unprotected sex, knock on wood. Yeah. Knock on wood. Everything will be fine. Knock on wood. Yeah, that'll work.
Unfortunately, though, Helen was not one of those people. She showed symptoms almost immediately. But since so many men in the military, like her husband, were contracting the disease, all treatment was focused on keeping our boys in tip-top shape. So Helen was denied the simple course of penicillin shots that would have cleared the syphilis right up in the early stages. By the time that treatment was available to Helen, it was too late. Her internal organs took a beating, she went blind in her right eye, and her brain was slowly eaten away by the disease over the next 2 decades of being married to John List.
Good Lord, she's like Al Capone.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good. She's definitely not improving as a person.
But before she married John, her first husband, Marvin, was killed in action in 1951 when he exposed himself to enemy fire to save his men, therefore ensuring that he died a hero for which Helen could pine over for the rest of her days.
It does seem like the beginning of The Who's Tommy. Because Anne Margaret, like...
I don't know that movie.
You don't know that movie? It's not good anymore.
Oh,
I used to
okay.
like it when I was younger.
Who's Tommy?
But The Who's Tommy, because her first husband, Tommy's father, leaves.
Yeah.
They think she dies in the war and becomes the whole thing. But then Oliver Reed's there, and then Robert Plant's Tommy, and then the pinball.
It's not Robert Plant. That's
Robert Durant, Richard Griffin. Who's the nine for the Who? The other guy.
Robert Townsend.
That's Pete Townsend. That's a guitar player.
Robert
Daltrey. Robert Daltrey. Swing the microphone.
Roger Daltrey.
Shut up. Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't even say shut up. Roger.
Wow. Well, you started all of that.
Respect the father. Hold the moral line.
Okay.
Well, according to Helen's daughter, Brenda, Helen was absolutely destroyed by Marvin's death. And after running through a series of men who might take care of her and her young daughter, Helen settled on the safe and boring John List just 8 months after her first husband died.
He seemed like a guy that could put a baby inside of her and make
she could
the money.
Obviously, she could still get pregnant, but that must have been kind of difficult too.
Yeah, well, she just viewed him as this is my rational way forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It makes sense. You had your hero of a husband. He is dead, and now you're going with kind of a basic dude who's going to provide you safety and structure.
No
theoretically.
burps, just fucking non-dramatic, no problems. Because one thing about men is that they never emotionally freak out.
No.
They're always just so steady, capable, rational.
I've read that on some things, yes.
Now, as far as what Helen's family thought of John, her sister Jean and Jean's husband, Gene, weren't impressed.
Is it like the Bob Newhart show? My brother Daryl's my other brother Daryl's my other brother Daryl. Remember that?
White people like to all share one name.
Yeah,
and I don't know why that is. I don't know why we like that. It's that phenomenon. And when someone names their kids all with the same first letter.
Oh, yeah.
That's
It's
also
like
very specific.
Well, George Foreman
Oh,
did
no,
that.
that's
George, and Georgetta.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes Jean and Jeans work out. I mean, my parents are named Bill and Billy.
Oh.
Sometimes it just happens.
That's
Sometimes
cute,
it
though.
does happen.
But that's just because they're raw sensuality. Your parents is raw. I mean, truly, they do have a loving relationship.
Yes, they do.
They like to kiss each other.
All right, Henry.
I'm
If
just
they're
saying.
still his parents. They're still.
It's nice she listens. His mom listens.
Yes, I know, and I don't. Yes, they're a loving family.
We love you. We miss you.
Well, husband Gene said that John, quote, wasn't one of my favorite people, and considered him a loser from the word go. That was his words. He was a loser from the word go. But despite his bland personality, there was something about John that Helen wanted to lock down.
Get him in there. I gotta get him.
Yeah, she's a syphilis-riddled mother of two.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
mother of one at this point.
Mother
she's
of
got
one and two ghosts.
She literally has one eye looking at California, one eye looking at New York. She needs somebody there. She needs somebody in the middle.
I don't think that John is bragging. Is all I'm saying.
Well, no, John's mother thought that she was. What was the term? I forget the exact term.
Oh man, what was the term? She did not like her. Did not
like her.
Oh, called her a dirty rebounder.
A dirty rebounder.
Yeah.
Like Dennis Rodman? What's going on here? dirty rebounder. Why
Or
are
something like that.
just
I don't
be
know if
happy
she
your
used the
son-
adjective dirty, but
It's
definitely called her a
something like that.
rebounder.
Just be happy your son found a woman. Just nip it, mom.
No, nothing was good for Johnny's mommy either.
No.
She's on the remake.
I
Yeah,
guess.
on the remake. Well, 2 months after they started dating, Helen announced that she was pregnant because John's deeply held religious beliefs apparently didn't extend to premarital sex. I'm sure he had plenty of things to say about other people having premarital sex, but apparently he didn't have a problem with it.
I swear to our sweet Savior, Lord and Jesus Christ. She came in the room. I had a long day at golf. I was playing golf, and to be honest, and I almost it was weird. I had this curvature to my mouth.
It's called a smile.
What?
It's a smile.
That's far too long to walk. And I went and I talked to Helen, and honestly, she revealed her apparatus to me.
Her vagina.
No,
Her pussy.
what did you
vagina.
say?
You can call it anything you want. It's just not an apparatus.
The second I looked at it, it had a hypno wheel in it. I had no choice.
You were hypnotized to have sex with your own future wife.
He made me do it.
Okay. Well, I'm happy that you did do it. And you know what? I'm happy that you almost smiled.
But what I found out is that I did not ejaculate.
She's pregnant.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You have powerful dust, my friend.
Well, John did what he thought was the right thing, and he married her. But as it turned out, the pregnancy was a lie.
Oh, no.
And John only found out after the deal was done. But since marriage was a sacred pact in John's eyes, he stuck with her without complaint, setting a pattern of pushing down his feelings again and again when it came to his wife.
Again,
All right, well,
holding the line.
that is-
being strong on the coast. No one gets into the city. I've got ancient walls up, working towards medieval walls. Got to get my science up.
That's Civ 6. We're talking about a family annihilator. That is horrible what she did to him, though. To lie
Yeah, I
about
mean,
the pregnancy.
sure.
And so
Yeah,
that,
I don't know.
I,
I don't know if she needs
understand
to
why
get-
he would be upset.
Sure, I don't know if she needs to get the execution
No,
style shot in the back of the head.
I'm
for
just
it.
saying he shouldn't have married her. He should have ended it there.
Well, that's part of his rigid beliefs.
Well, it seems like that hatred seed grew into a big tree. And that tree, it wasn't leaves on it. It was a gun on it.
Every single grudge you hold turns into a cancer cell.
Yeah. So by 1954, John and Helen moved to a Detroit suburb called Inkster and had their first child of 3, a girl named Patricia. But from what Helen's sister Jean later said, Helen didn't even like children and viewed her brood as nothing more than burdens.
I'm with you, girl.
But she kept having them.
Yeah,
she
you-
just kept
you-
having them because that's what you do.
Yep.
It would literally be like if you said you don't like dogs and be like, you have a dog. Like, why did you get the dog?
I was holding the line. No one respects a father.
Patricia is a great name. I feel bad for everyone involved.
Of course.
Yeah. John, meanwhile, found a more prosperous job in Kalamazoo working for the Sutherland Paper Company, which was essentially a box factory that pioneered the throwaway packaging market and looked at their contribution to the world's garbage pile as a source of pride.
All right. Well, it's not that bad if it's just the cardboard.
It was the cardboard, the plastic. They pioneered quite a bit. Like this was a company that definitely contributed to the rise of throwaway disposable culture in America.
How else am I going to get my flat screen TV delivered to my house?
He hasn't watched Pocahontas recently.
No, I have not. I've never seen that, actually.
But in Kalamazoo, the Lists had 2 more children, John Jr. and Fred. And John List became the treasurer of his church, just like his father had been. Helen, on the other hand, didn't much care for church and stopped going altogether after John Jr. was born.
Now this was highly offensive to John. Did he ever say a word of it? No.
So Helen's not going to church.
No, she stopped going to church. And you remember, because they gave him the opportunity to be treasurer. And now that he has gotten this lofty position, because not only is he a treasurer for this church, that means he is directly, now, yeah, he was an accountant for God yesterday, but now he is officially an accountant for God.
Yeah.
And this is a lofty position, and no one understands the pressure of someone who has become the treasurer of a church who needs some backup.
Yeah.
At the church
Standing
with
up
the wife,
again. Yeah.
holding the line.
Holding the line. I love for-profit churches because how else do you talk to God? How else would you even do it?
I do
unless
it
you're
with
in a
my-
for-profit church.
Yeah, how's he going to notice you if your church isn't gigantic and super rich? That's how you get God to talk to you.
Sometimes if I want to talk to God, what I do is I take my pants fully down, I bend over, and I try to just yell into my own asshole.
That would be more appropriate.
Well, Helen's daughter Brenda followed her mother's lead, and the slow separation of the List family from John's rigid religious beliefs began. Helen also began drinking heavily, and when she was in her cups, she drunkenly teased her husband for being, in her words, a goody little two-shoes.
I'll tell you what, you're a fucking nerd.
She's right. And also, from now on, don't bother me. I'm in my cups.
Hey, I love the turn in my cups.
I love the term in my cups.
It's a classy way to be sitting in a puddle of your own piss at a 7-Eleven.
Hey, don't be bothering him this weekend. He's in his cups.
He's
you don't
in
want to
his
be
cups.
speaking to him when he's in his cups. John, however, would never argue, never fight back, and would never even have a conversation with his wife about her escalating harassment. All he would do is sulk, repress, and resent. And his life continued in this manner for years.
Press and press and press and press. And then he'd still go to church, and he's Mr. Treasurer. And then he goes to the box factory, and he's Mr. Accountant. And they give him, because he started saluting him. And he was just like, thank you. Yep, I am a veteran. And he's got his Bronze Star on. And every day he gets and he looks at his shiny car, and he's just like, oh, I'm a master of the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they would say about John List, is that he was unnecessarily proud about everything in his life. Like, he's a fucking accountant at a box factory. And
a
he's
good
acting
job.
like it's a
job.
fine job.
But
It's
you know
a
what?
fine job.
It's just the idea of you start to see how, number one, which I've learned in therapy, and we've talked about learning from therapy, about the idea that you are not your job. Right?
No.
That you are, but to him, he very much so. All of these prizes, quote unquote prizes, that society is giving him for being good, sticking to the rules, doing what he's supposed to do. He believes, again, yes, these are not only prizes that I was given, but I took from the jaws of Satan himself.
Yeah.
They didn't want me to have this. I went, I took it, I did. I'm strong enough. I hold the line. No one's breaching. No one's breaching.
I mean, good for him for having a job and trying to, to be living in a modern family in the 1950s.
This is
Yes,
the
but-
50s,
but,
yeah.
It's not
But
easy.
it's an inflated sense of the importance of all of that.
But that inflation was done via media too, right? Everyone was like the car, and this is when
Maybe.
big ads come
Yeah.
in, and this is what,
he definitely internalized that.
what
Yeah,
it means to be a man.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely internalized that. And he was, hearing that shit from his father, hearing that shit from church, hearing that shit from, the media. Like, that's his work was worth what he could earn. And the other thing, too, is that, the logical conclusion of that is that it's never enough. That you always want more. You always need more. You always got to be advancing. You cannot stay stagnant. You cannot be satisfied with just a middle class life. You need to be at the top, because if you're at the top, then you can talk to God.
Yeah, you're right next to God. You
You're
go to
God's
the same
favorite.
restaurants as God. You go to the
Yeah.
same gas station as
Whoa.
God. You go to the same
bad.
car dealership as
It's
the Lord.
Yeah, I mean, it's the prosperity gospel, where it's like the more successful you are, the more God loves you, and that's how But that's what his beliefs were.
But God looks like George Washington, and he's got huge tits. And he loves smoking cigarettes, but he also likes cocaine in his soda.
I love that.
Well, Helen, outside of the alcohol, she was also heavily medicated with the tranquilizers so popular amongst housewives of the 50s and 60s. Got a problem with your wife? She's talking too much? Give her some fucking pills.
calm down pills.
Make her a Stepford wife.
Particularly, Helen was given thalidomide, which had infamously produced the so-called flipper babies in women who had originally been prescribed the drug for morning sickness.
But see how calm you are? Isn't that nice? Yes, you just birthed a penguin, but do you see how calm you are?
I actually don't mind being the mother to a dolphin.
No, it's nice, right?
So, because of the alcohol, the tranquilizers, and the progressive nature of syphilis, Helen withdrew and slowly lost her mind. She would keep the lights on in the house day and night, and neighbors would look through the windows to see her vacuuming at 3 a.m.
My mom used to do a campaign of aggressive vacuuming to let us all know that she was upset.
Yeah.
But it also cleans. So
It does, but it becomes aggressive.
yeah,
Vacuuming can be very threatening.
it can
Yes,
be.
it can be.
Just ask a Chihuahua.
But it's not like the neighbors could even show concern, because Helen rarely went outside during the day and never talked to the neighbors. But like many miserable housewives who try to fill the emptiness inside of them with things, Helen was also highly materialistic. Well, she demanded that the Lists buy the most expensive clothes and have the most expensive accessories for the children, insisting that they buy a playpen that would have cost $900 in today's money.
We can't put them in a goddamn trash can anymore.
Yeah, you can. You can actually. They're just going to play with the box. It's a cliche, but it's true. Kids don't need what's inside. They don't need a $900 playpen. Just be nice to your kids.
Patricia needs a pergola.
I don't think that she does.
She
I think
has
she
to
needs a
have
mother
one.
who's sober sometimes.
I'm
I'm just saying you're drunk and she can't even. You can't even.
I'm drunk. You're stunk.
I'm not stunk. I'm not. I'm just trying to.
I'm drunk.
See?
I'm drunk.
I know, and Patricia's she wants to play with you. She doesn't need a $900.
Everybody gets a pergola now. Everybody gets a little bassinet now.
You're a horrible neighbor.
Well, the ironic part about Helen's materialism and status chasing was that nobody even saw all these status symbols but them, because nobody ever came over to their house except for maybe Gene and Jean every once in a while.
I feel so triggered because it's just like me in my home during quarantine, just panic buying shoes for no reason. I'm just looking at shoes, being like, why do I have this? Why am I buying this? No one's seeing these shoes.
Yeah.
I'm having the shoes on. I'm just wearing drip around the house.
It reminds me when they showed Ben Carson's home. He took people on a tour, and right above where you go downstairs to his sort of den, there's a massive picture of Jesus Christ with the face of Ben Carson on it.
Wow.
And then you go downstairs, and it's all just Ben Carson. Like it's like his own tomb. It reminds me of that in a very strange. It's just very strange to get gratification out of your own stuff, but you don't get gratification out of sharing it with others, which is where I would get the gratification.
That's where I get the gratification.
I don't really give a shit.
No, I want to see. I want people to see the shoes and go, nice shoes.
Nice shoes.
That's all I want.
And then we can talk like, you have nice shoes too. And then what's your name? And then you have a friendship.
Friendship,
maybe
bridge made, bonds connected.
I've just been spending the entire winter trying to see if I can find the cuddliest sweater around. Soft, cuddly sweaters. That's so I've got way too many sweaters now.
The cuddliest sweater is actually another human.
That is true.
Get closer to Carolina, and closer, physically closer and closer.
My wife.
That's called cuddling. That's cuddling.
Well, furthermore, Helen would also harangue John at work. She'd call and say things like, quote,
"Your son messed in his pants. If you want him changed, you come home and you do it."
I mean, at the very least, if you're going to be a drunk housewife, you can change the diaper. You're not going to remember your blackout anyway.
Honestly, I've learned that the best time to do chores is drunk when you get home late at night, because in drunk you does all the chores, and then sober you wakes up and it's like all the trolls came and the leprechauns came and fixed everything.
I also recommend ordering things when you're blackout drunk, and then next day, a few days later, you wake up, you're like, oh, what's this at the door? And then you're like, oh my God,
Past me, sent me a present.
It's a cat. I'm so happy I ordered this.
Well, no matter what John was doing, when she called and said the baby's messed itself, come change it, he had a pretty, I guess, flexible work environment. So he'd drop everything, go home, change the kid, and come back to work fucking humiliated because everybody knew, because he had to say like, hey, I got to go home. My baby's shit itself. I got to change it. My wife's refusing to do it again, so I got to go do it. I'll be right back.
And it's that same Mad Men environment where they're all sitting there being like, because John can't control the little lady at home. And they're like laughing in one corner, which is a part of what they called, I like this book term, the idea of in the office, it's called cold intimacies, where you develop these relationships, these inter-office relationships, where they're like, to your face, they're like, sure, John, whatever you got to do. Yeah, we'll see you at the meeting. And then as soon as he leaves, being like, that fucking cuck, we should put him in a spank box.
Yeah, it's like jail.
Well, Helen also loved telling her husband that he was nothing compared to her first husband, Marvin.
Marvin knew how to do it. Marvin never would let the baby shit its pants.
Helen, Marvin got shot. Marvin got shot in the head, Helen.
Marvin gave me the funnest disease you can get from a war.
Helen even bullied John about his haircut, badgering him.
Dumb.
It was dumb, but she would constantly badger him about like, your hair looks stupid. You're old-fashioned. Why don't you fucking get a different haircut?
You lied to me and told me you were pregnant to get in this marriage.
But it's the same.
This is the part of every episode I have a bit of sympathy in the origin story of these monsters. This guy, he is living a waking night. He is
But you
living
also-
Kevin Spacey's life from American Beauty.
You have to remember, and then look what happened to Kevin Spacey. You have
in real
to.
life.
You have
Kevin
to
Spacey in
remember.
real life was not living that life.
No. Same thing. But I feel like there is a two-way street here because he never once said the things that he was feeling.
No.
It was never a thing. Look, would he huff and go like, "Oh, yeah, all right then, Helen, okay." But you can see the situations. The way she talked about it is that she'd be haranguing him. Part of it was searching for a reaction. I think that there was a part of it like looking, being like, "Be a human, fucking scream, like let loose." Because every single time she'd berate him, he'd like sigh, go like, "You might be right, Helen," or whatever, and then just like go to slam his office door, and then just. God, give me the strength to end all this, God. Give me the power. Give me the power.
Soon I will give you the strength to end this.
Well, in other words, Helen fucking hated him. Absolutely hated him. But it's also not like John was a fucking catch.
No.
He was obsessed with strategic military board games.
Hey, all right, well,
What's wrong with
We'll
that?
talk about that. This is where I
We'll get into
offended,
it, but just let me set the scene.
Okay, I
of
just
course,
feel
there's nothing wrong with being into board games. I love strategic military board games. There's one called Black Orchestra that I love. But anyway, John would invite unsuspecting men over to the house to engage in campaigns, neglecting to tell them until the game was well underway that a single campaign lasted 8 hours.
They don't know that John List invented creating friends with board games because that's what happens. I don't know if we've all been sandbagged by a board game friend. I'm talking specifically about Holden McNeely, where you show up in his house and he's like, "Oh, it's just a game, it'll be fun." But all of a sudden it's fucking 6 hours and him just being like, "You have to look at the rule book," and him opening it up, like no one's respecting. We played Secret Hitler the other day.
Secret Hitler?
And he started screaming at all of us about not following the rules and how we were manipulating and gaslighting him.
Well, all I know is Holden stayed at my house for one night, and he was sitting on my chair, and he looked at me and he said, "Can you give me a glass of water?" And I almost became a family annihilator because the answer was no. He can get his own water. And then when he went to get water, he went to the fridge, and I drink tap water because I just believe that tap water is fine. And he judged me. And I said, you get out of here. You get out of here.
And that's called holding the line.
That's called holding. Like, you get out of here.
Well, John's favorite game was a military strategy game called the Third Reich. And John would always
hold on a
insist.
second. Was it pro or anti?
He
It's
would
neutral.
always insist. It's neutral, but he would
Okay.
always insist he play as the Nazis, or else they wouldn't play at all.
But
Hey, give Johnny what he wants. Trick or treat Johnny wants to be a Nazi tonight.
he wants to dress up like a Nazi, like he's Prince Harry or whatever the hell.
If they only knew back in the day that they could just let him get it out. You know what I mean? He needs to get this out.
But didn't he? All right. What? I'm done asking
I
questions
played
for a
Axis
second.
and Allies as the Axis powers many times.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Well, one man who got roped into a game with John List described the experience of playing with him as, quote, exhausting.
Well, yeah, it is an 8-hour board game where you're actively fighting via the board and
Yeah,
dice.
and you were fighting World War II again after he just went and fought it, and now you're playing the board game version of it, and you're the people you were trying to kill in the first place, which I think is very interesting. And I feel in this scenario,
Yeah.
you're seeing the seeds of the man who's about to kill his family.
I see.
John was also an obsessive right-winger who believed that the moral fabric of society was disintegrating before his very eyes. And he would ardently maintain that all Democrats were evil communists out to destroy the country at all costs.
Weird. Yeah, even in the 1950s.
It's always been like this. But but then this is why he consumed himself, because, he's Spider-Manning the dam.
God,
right? He's got 2 toes into the holes, 2 his fingers up in the top. He's got his nose in the hole, and he's sitting there just being like, "I'm the only one between democracy and communism. I am the only one." Meanwhile, it seems like the more you talk about the extreme control that how you're the only ones who knows, you begin to sound like you might also have autocratic things inside
tendencies.
It's
yeah.
definitely a good
Fascist
thing he didn't have any
tendencies.
more power than the power that he had. He seems like a real McCarthy Republican, and dare I say, it's probably best he didn't have
But also-
anything other than a humble middle-class lifestyle.
The
He's a
philosophy,
dickhead who works at a box factory in Kalamazoo.
Yep.
He has no power.
He has no power, but he's acting like Dwight Schrute again a little bit, and then he goes into this scenario where then he has total control of this little unit. He has total control.
Because the home environment was so miserable, Brenda moved out at 18 and got married. But since she got married only to escape the house, she got divorced. Then she got married again. Then she got divorced again. But finally made it work on the third marriage.
All right.
But John didn't look at this from the perspective that maybe he'd created an environment so miserable that his stepdaughter escaped by any means. Instead, he saw Brenda's divorces as a moral failing and became determined that his own daughter, Patty, wouldn't fall into the same sinful path.
Just want your children to be happy. Just want them to be happy.
But life never seemed to work out the way John List thought it should. And when the Sutherland Paper Company was bought out, John List was crossed out and let go because he didn't have the skills to be a manager.
You got to be a people person to be a manager.
The Bobs came in. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Now, this dismissal of John as not quite good enough to join the corporate elite would end up being the pattern that would define John's life. He couldn't take being a failure and was so concerned with status, even within his own family, that he never even told them when he got fired, which happened fairly often.
Oh, my God. Tell me he didn't do the thing where he pretended
the
he
thing.
still had a job and he would
He
wake
did
up
the thing.
early and
He
just try-
invented it. This is where this is the truth. This is where this bit comes from. Is this story.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, he was the old, he would get up every morning, he would dress, he would go to the train station, he would take the train a few stations up, get off the train, sit in the other next train station and just read for 8 hours. Then we'd get back on the train, take it home and pretend like he'd been at work all day.
That is, honestly, that is a level of sociopathy, right? Like, that's so,
Yeah.
like, what, talking about living a lie.
How can you? I just don't understand how you can. I mean, it's just him. He's got a pretty good. He's got pretty good practice pushing down all of his feelings, so he can lie about fucking anything.
Right.
Eventually, though, John got a job with the Xerox Corporation at a salary equivalent to 6 figures in today's money, which is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But because Helen had such expensive tastes, John was still constantly in the hole financially. He figured he could fix his money problem simply by working harder and advancing in the company because he was told that's how life worked in America.
Right.
This is a meritocracy. This is what a man does. And no, you have to fucking smile and you have to be fun to work with.
Yep. At the end of the day, he just becomes a copy of a copy of a copy. And what happens then? You just slowly become erased.
Yep.
You know, he was actually the person who came up with Xerox charging 25 cents per copy. He was the one that, before that, it was a monthly type thing. He was the one who came up with charging $0.25 per copy.
Wow.
That was him.
Well, he
Yeah.
made them a lot of money.
He made him a lot of money, yeah. And he was promoted to director of accounting services and placed in charge of 4 managers and 250 people in 1962.
Okay.
But John's biggest problem was that he couldn't handle pressure of any kind. When he was forced to speak in public, his face would break out into ugly red hive-like welts.
Aww.
And when he finally got the courage to talk, his face would twitch and he'd shift his body from side to side like a nervous little boy.
I just wish I was home, but I'm here.
But home doesn't sound that nice
Hear
either.
me speak, can you hear? I just wish I was home. And at the same time, I don't like home.
I love this talk singing performance from our quiet accountant.
Furthermore, John also couldn't put up the family man front that was so essential to the corporate environment of the 1960s. When there were big corporate functions to attend, holiday parties and such, John was forced to bring Helen, who was frankly a big fucking mess.
See, this is sad because this sounds like this was the funnest part of the 60s. Were all the office parties.
Yeah, all the hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
When people actually ate like...
The party from Scrooge is what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's really fun. When people have liverwurst, but it was like classy.
Ooh, yeah, classy little livers.
Yeah, bologna bean dip wraps.
Yeah,
I like it.
I love a good 1960s, 1970s cookbook
A
because
savory jello.
yeah, you can put anything in Jello.
Well, Helen drunk and loaded with tranquilizers, would spend the parties flirting with other men while telling the wives they didn't all have to be so timid.
Let me see a little bit of your breasts.
I don't.
Come on, it's Christmas time.
You want to see some of my breasts? You're talking to my
Christmas time.
husband Barry here, and I.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe honestly, let's all take our underwear off.
Man.
Come on, everybody.
Wow, John, you got yourself a real keeper.
Yeah. Then, as a finale, she'd tell John's co-workers about how John could never measure up to her first husband, Marvin.
This is a fun story.
This is a fun.
This is so great that you brought. Anyone want any of that new shrimp dip that they have over there?
And that was when John's face would break out into blotches and Helen would be dragged home.
I just gotta hold the line till I get home. I just gotta hold the line. God, give me the strength. God, give me the strength to give her back to you.
He seems.
God, give me the strength.
He sounds like a more sympathetic version of Chris Watts, though, because at least, obviously what he did is absolutely horrible. But Chris Watts seemed like everything was fine for him.
Well, it's because he was full of shit. He was absolutely full of shit. And the fighting that they had between the inside is he just didn't want to reveal anything because it came down to I'm the only person who can stomach this because I'm just so great. I'm just so strong and great. So I'm the only person that can handle this. Yes, Chris Watts and Shanann Watts did not have necessarily a perfect relationship. Shanann Watts did spend a lot of money. They did do it like they were like $15K in debt. Like when that was like one of the things. That was one of the choke points.
Welcome to every house in America.
Yes, but Chris Watts, again, he wanted the cultural, societal points of look how fun I'm this Facebook dad. Like I'm having fun, like on videos, I'm doing bits and all this stuff because she was a famous lupus sufferer and she was constant. She was very online, and so she was like. But obviously,
she lived her whole fucking life online.
She lived her life online. When you look at the videos of Chris Watts, you can see the pain in his eyes. Like you can see him being like, I don't want to be on I don't want to be on video right now. But also, he never said the words. He never communicated. So at some point, you have to say.
Well, I'm going to say this.
Feelings
he definitely communicated.
Towards the end there.
That's one way of communication, I suppose.
Yeah, nothing comes from just pushing your feelings down again and again, pushing them and pushing them. Nothing good comes of that.
Cancer or murder.
Yeah. And even outside of his problems at home, John, who was now 40 years old, was a man at a time. It was 1965 by that point.
Having so much fun. Age of Aquarius. Kick-ass new music. He could be doing
guitars, dude.
So much more fun could be had.
Well, I mean, the country, in his view, was rapidly changing into something that was a complete breakdown of what he thought America should be. I saw a belly button
on the street the other day.
Oh, that's so fun. People have belly buttons. You have a belly button
buttons
too.
Are feet a child. My belly button.
No, belly buttons.
I've cemented my belly button over earlier today.
You cemented it over with cement or with?
It's glue.
I'm actually going to believe it is glue in your case, John. Yeah,
I don't come.
I believe that's true. That's probably the problem.
Well, John was completely out of step with the culture. He was rigid, timid in the face of authority, and overly proud for reasons that no one could ascertain. Helen, meanwhile, was in the early stages of cerebral atrophy, which is a condition in which the brain literally shrinks.
Oh, my goodness.
Her condition
this is because of syphilis?
Yeah, well, it was originally brought on by syphilis, but the alcohol and tranquilizers only made it worse. Oh. Because by this point, Helen was up. She was a 5 scotch a day lady, but was telling everybody, was ardent that she was just. I'm not an alcoholic. I only have 5 scotches a day.
That's a bottle. That's a bottle of scotch.
It's like a half scotch.
No, that's a full. No, for me. No, but 5 because so the first pour, we're gonna say 2 shots.
Yeah.
Third pour, 4 shots. By the 5th pour, whatever is left.
We're just gonna slide it in.
Whatever is left.
But if you're cooking with ice, that's how you get water in there.
Yeah, and then you're not an alcoholic anymore.
Well, by 1966, Helen was in and out of the hospital constantly, going in for, of course, the brain shrinkage, but also she went blind in her right eye. Her legs got so stiff that she couldn't walk. And one time, she fractured her skull during a blackout.
Oh, my.
Creepily, when doctors tried to ask her questions about her condition, she would only respond by making smacking noises with her lips and contorting her face into a series of expressive grimaces.
Oh, so
which is actually kind of how my grandma was at the end.
Yeah, the Charles Manson like every emotion thing that he did.
Meanwhile, the
Horrible
higher-
for audio. Towards the end, Charles Manson interview is horrible for audio.
Nobody. Meanwhile,
That is a great quote. That's a great quote.
yeah. Meanwhile, the higher-ups at Xerox had told John that he had advanced as far as he ever would at the company.
Oh.
So he switched jobs and found work at the First National Bank in Jersey City as vice president.
This was huge. This was huge.
That's a VP of a bank.
Oh no, this was big money at the time too. Like he was ready to. This was a big deal. He was making it in America.
So the duality is he has this just crumbling family life that is beyond a nightmare, but he really is doing this. He is actually a success in business. Is he not?
It was a lot. I mean, this was just a lateral move.
Yeah.
Like he's
But he got the title that he wanted.
The vice president.
He got the title.
Well, I think he was vice president at Zero. Like he was vice president of something.
Oh,
like
okay.
he kept getting the title vice president over and over and over again. But it was also like a meaningless like vice presidential title. Like it was not the best title in the world. He just kept moving laterally again and again and again. But this was his last lateral move. After this one, it would just go steadily downhill.
Okay.
The family.
And he saw the wall and he knew this was as good as
He didn't know yet.
Yeah, he didn't know yet. Well, for this job, the family was relocated to the town of Westfield, New Jersey, and they soon found the house where all but John would meet their doom. And that doom was only hastened by Helen's insistence that they buy one of the most expensive houses in town. See, John's real estate agent was showing him houses in the $20,000 to $30,000 range, which was well within John's budget.
I'm sorry, what was that number again for a house?
Yeah.
Yep, $20,000 to $30,000
big money
for
back then.
like a 5-bedroom house.
Okay. I just wanted to shout out to everyone living in an apartment in Brooklyn.
Yay. They used to want you to be able to get a house.
Yeah. But Helen insisted on finding a home that was, in her words, more elegant.
Elegant.
You have the eyes of a walrus. You can't walk. You're a raging alcoholic.
Elegance.
I don't know. Just,
Butlers. Quarters.
but do you think that you deserve maybe take care of yourself a little? Your brain is
room.
shrinking.
Laundry room. Billiard room.
You're just saying names of rooms.
Elegant.
Well, eventually they settled on a house that cost $57,000, which was almost twice their maximum budget.
Oh.
This place, located at 431 Hillside Avenue, was a 3-story mansion with 19 rooms, 10 fireplaces, and 5 bathrooms.
Why in the hell would they need this?
Well, the term
That's what
that
she wanted. That's what Helen wanted.
This is the term that he used. He's like, I was too ashamed to tell her. He said that they entered a phase of, it was an example of conspicuous consumption in the extreme.
okay,
That is what he
it's
said
not
about his own wife.
Well, I guess it is conspicuous.
But it's the way he says it, as if he's talking about his business.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's all the same.
Okay.
And furthermore, the house itself was a money pit in need of numerous repairs. So he not only was buying a house that he couldn't afford, he was also buying a house that he was going to have to spend even more money on.
Oh, a fixer-upper. Yay!
It's fun if you got Chip and JoJo there
Not
making
for
it
us.
light.
Not for us. We are not a fixer-upper people.
No.
Well, to afford it, he asked his mother for a loan. And she said, yeah, I'll give you the loan, but only under the condition that I come and live with you.
Oh, man, I'm so excited.
You're going to. I want to die for this.
Hold the line.
John agreed to the condition and moved his mother to the house where he would eventually murder her. And in letters to friends prior to her death, Alma List would describe her years in New Jersey as the unhappiest of her life.
Not only did he buy a mansion, but then I was forced to live in it, and then it sucked. I hated it because he was mean, and he went and he had a tight little face, and I hated his haircut too.
That's your son.
Yep. I hated it. I hate my vagina for making it.
I believe that. Oh, this is such a dystopian American nightmare.
It really is. Like this show, this episode, this story is just so distinctly American in every way.
Because it's also about living on the fucking razor's edge of your means. Where that's the only way to make it is just like at the blazing hot edge of what you quite possibly could afford. And then if you don't, you literally destroy everything because all the loans that you've done, everything else attached to it.
Absolutely.
Now, when the list moved in, a neighbor named Harry Delvin tried bringing over a pie as a housewarming gift.
That's nice. That's when you could accept baked goods from neighbors without having to worry that they're full of like drugs or some kind of poison.
But John List simply thanked him and said it was not their custom to socialize with neighbors, which set the tone for the next few years.
My pie's not fucking good enough for you?
Unfortunately.
Isn't that crazy? It's like if you're in a sword battle on Ghost of Tsushima and you block the guy's attack and then it's like extra damaging. Like that pie, it started as a gift. He blocked it. The amount of anger and rage. Oh, I would be so pissed if you rejected my pie.
First of all, I see this pie, and honestly, what I don't appreciate is that it's in the shape of a pentagram, which is a circle.
Well, that's just a pie.
And I cannot have, honestly, I just can't be spending all day talking with you at the mailbox.
I baked you a pie.
A pie I did not ask for. You're a neighbor I didn't ask for. Honestly, if I had the option, I would burn your house down and I would kill your family. I'd take your car and I'd sink it in the lake.
And that was where the first pie in a face happened.
But it's true. But, sometimes you got to set boundaries.
I don't think that's the proper boundary, but okay.
Well, from that day forward, John was known as the neighborhood fuddy-duddy, the highly religious right-wing nut who would wear a suit and tie to mow the lawn. Middle of summer, suit and tie. Middle of winter, suit and tie. Middle of the day, at night, didn't matter. Suit and tie, always, no matter what.
I'm scared of suits.
I actually like that about him. Can I just say this when it comes to the term fuddy-duddy? You tell me that doesn't sound like the most fun person in town. Like the words fuddy-duddy should never be applied to someone who is bland, because the words fuddy-duddy sounds like they have a spinner hat and they're constantly.
Yeah, it's a mentally handicapped man.
No, or just someone who sells a lot of candy.
Brings ice cream to random people.
That
just like,
guy
I just want to make you smile. Yeah, of course.
The town fuddy-duddy. I don't understand how we, as linguistics, I'm talking linguistics here.
Yeah.
How do the terms fuddy-duddy come to imply someone is boring when the words fuddy-duddy are nothing but fun?
I'm talking linguini here. I think fuddy-duddy just comes down to someone named a rocket. It's a rock fuddy-duddy at some point, maybe?
I guess so. I'm just saying the words are fun.
I know. I think fuddy-duddy is a way to try to make dull people fun. It's a way to bring a little color to the gray.
Well, it's a fun person's word for a boring person.
That's right.
We did our George Carlin word segment for today. What's the deal with fuddy-duddy? That's also Jerry Seinfeld.
Well, John List was thought of as an overly strict, pious grouch, which grouch, by the way, is a word that I think we should bring back. I think grouchy should be brought back.
I
We
don't
should
even
bring
think
back
it's
grouch.
I don't think it's a pejorative necessarily. I think grouchy. I like a good grouchy guy. A good,
I'm fine with it.
What's the name of that famous actor who was always grouchy?
Walter Matthau.
No, not Walter Matthau. The other one.
Robert Mitchum.
No, Groden. James Groden.
Charles Grodin.
Charles
Grodin. Yeah, he's a wonderful.
How did
he's
we
a
get to
wonderful
Charles
grouch.
Grodin
Because
today?
he's the grouch. Charles Grodin, when I was growing up, is the epitome of a grouchy guy.
Robert Blake is the epitome of a
No,
grouchy
Robert
guy.
Blake is the epitome of someone who has not quite enough talent to be where he thinks he wants to be, and then
He was great in the Tony Dancer specials, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. He was beyond grouchy. But no, Charles Grodin is a wonderful grouch. Clifford, wonderful grouch movie.
I love a good grouch.
Yeah. But John List was so sour that he was asked to not teach Sunday school anymore. Because Sunday school is, I probably am not alone in this in thinking that Sunday school was by far the most boring part of every single fucking week. It was the worst. But he took it beyond boredom. He took it to the point of misery, where he made children miserable.
Well, because
so they asked him to not do it anymore.
He legitimately thought that misery was what you were supposed to feel.
Yeah.
I will give a little bit of accolade to the people who had Sunday school when I was growing up. A lot of puppets. I was surrounded by puppets. Remember that? Christians loved indoctrinating kids via the puppet.
I don't know. Sometimes puppets just somehow always lead to like touching a 23-year-old's penis behind a fucking shed.
It can. I don't know why. It's a different experience than I had, but sure.
When people were invited over to the List house, which was rare, they found that the mansion was nearly empty, save for a few sticks of furniture. That's all they could afford. And Helen never offered any hospitality and obviously loathed any intrusion. Then things once again took a turn for the worst for John List. After only 1 year, John was fired from his job in Jersey City. He'd been expected to be a salesman who could seek out new business because this is when the suburbs were really fucking popping.
No, he's not a salesman personality.
No.
No. He was off-putting. He had an off-putting personality to everybody. And so he couldn't even come close to fulfilling his duties. They gave him a year and he still couldn't fucking do it. And of course, the family was never told. John spent months sitting at the train station all day, every day, replacing his salary by slowly draining his mother's bank account without telling her what was going on. Without telling anyone.
Oh, and the house was double mortgage. Everything was kind
house
of
was triple mortgaged.
Yeah, he kept going and he kept going.
You can triple mortgage?
Anything's possible in America.
Jeez.
Finally, he got a job as, again, the vice president of the American Photographic Company in New York City. But his salary was only half of what he'd been making at the bank. And even the bank had been a small step down from the one before, from Xerox. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The next year, American Photographic Company relocated. And John, chained to his dilapidated mansion, couldn't follow. But according to one employee, nobody was sorry to see him go. Because at this point, like John is, before he was at certain jobs, like people would describe as like he was liked. Like he was liked well enough.
He did his job. He fulfilled his obligations. He wasn't unpleasant. He just did his job. But now he is getting actively meaner, more rigid, more and more intense about his morality, talking more and more about God at work, talking about these types of things where he is really becoming just like a fucking bummer. No one wanted to be around him anymore.
He seems like the kind of guy who would be like Richard Nixon. Yeah, he's a socialist.
That's the idea.
He just got so beyond the pale.
Yeah. Helen, meanwhile, was constantly demanding John buy her the most expensive clothes, all while she drunkenly and loudly complained about John's lackluster performance in the bedroom.
Ooh.
I mean, you're riddled with syphilis.
And John keeps giving her everything because he's thinking this is how you do it. You make your wife happy by buying her things. And if I buy her enough things, then maybe she will be happy. Never mind, maybe showing her any bit of emotion or love or anything like that. It's all materialism. It's all capitalism. It all is money, money, money.
You see, you would say it's about making her happy, but I honestly don't think it was about making her happy. I think it was about him believing he was living up to his obligations of what the father of a family does, which is that's all they do. They're ATMs and they pay out everything, and they sit and they work, and that's the only thing he's good for.
Well, maybe not making her happy, shutting her up.
Stopping the conversation.
Would content be the
stopping
proper
the conversation?
Word? Perhaps content.
I don't know.
Making her content with the.
No one's content. He thinks being happy is a fucking makes you weak.
Right.
Yeah. As far as the children went, John, in response to the Cultural Revolution happening all around him in the late 60s, grew ever more strict, drilling the kids on religious doctrine and determining their daily schedules down to the minute in an effort to gain some control.
This is where the whole, no one saw it coming. John List was just this sort of it just popped out of nowhere, and you start to see you could see him start to try to gain true control, control.
Also, the 60s, I mean, yes, they were a little bit, I'm going to say fun and a little wacky, but it really wasn't that crazy. It was just concerts that were outside.
Crazy.
It was pretty crazy.
Fucking nuts.
People would go live whole alternative lifestyles. You could go and live a whole new lifestyle. Yeah. That's what they were trying to. But that was the point of it.
Aren't those lifestyles basically normalized to this point?
No, not really.
No, in the 60s, you're talking riots constantly. You're talking about assassinations, all that. You're talking
communal
about huge
living,
assassinations.
People going
the protests. There's bombings. The 60s are actually, as far as how bad and how much society was in turmoil in the 60s, it's actually played down quite a bit.
And socially, well, not last week, but not anymore. But it was. But now they are communal living. The idea that the whole point was showed of this freedom of you don't have to live in the box that that you were born into. You can do whatever you want. That first kind of breakaway idea.
But communes just became timeshares and became
of course, everything
homes.
was ruined by that generation. Yes, of course.
Yeah, of course. Then, when Helen fell again in 1968 and became bedridden for weeks with continuous vomiting and headaches, the kids just sort of took care of themselves while John attended to his wife's every need.
When I walked into that room, Helen, It was like the day that I married you. So beautiful with the way you were vomiting.
It was tense and long.
Yes, very nice.
Well, when Helen's sister Jean pressed John to hire a nurse, John refused, saying it would be too expensive. But in a very telling move, when Jean suggested John apply for welfare to help with the cost, which maybe would allow him to take care of the kids, he gave her a look like she just landed from fucking Mars. Like she had 6 heads.
Yeah, I do fucking welfare.
Seems like you need some help, buddy.
Yeah,
You don't have to do it forever. You just to get back on your feet.
Help is what a man screams when he's stuck at the bottom of a mountain, not when he's riding on the wings of an American eagle. Yeah, is it unstable on top of the
You're
eagle?
on the wings because it seems like you might be on the bottom.
I'm having a hard time getting a harness on this eagle.
Okay.
And I'm having a little bit of difficulty with the seat on this
with
eagle.
the seat. Okay, that's the only problem. Okay, all right.
But even as the family was falling apart, the List children were doing relatively okay. I mean, yeah, John Jr. was the type of kid who would stick a pencil in your ribs just to see you in pain.
Not a problem. Honestly, that's fun.
But Fred was described as cuddly and adorable, the youngest kid. You know, and they're all teenagers by this point. They're like between 16 and 13. Yeah, they're kids. As far as the teenage Patty went, though, she was certainly the one going through the biggest transformations, which to us, everything happening to Patty was completely normal. But to John, she was sprinting into the arms of Satan.
Satan, Satan, Satan.
I completely forgot why we were talking about this guy. In my head, I was like, oh, I wonder, did they grow up to be kind of like normal kids? And then I remembered that they were halted from doing that, weren't they?
Yep.
The year was 1970. And Patty had discovered the joy of theater through a drama group led by a man named Ed Iliano. Now, John List saw theater as a, quote, field for the devil and compared acting to prostitution.
He's not wrong.
I mean,
It's more, but it's fun to be. That's the whole idea. It's free.
Can I just say this? Both are okay?
Yeah.
If done properly, if done safely.
Actually, John was partly correct in the whole field of the devil thing. Patty was she was working on becoming an all-around groovy chick. She'd go to church under silent protest and tell her friends that she was becoming a witch.
Cool.
Yeah, and she even went as far as she asked her drama teacher, like, hey, do you want to be a warlock in my coven?
And they are all, everyone's having fun with this. You know what I mean? This is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, really the worst Patty ever did was sneak out one night to go walking and smoking with one of her friends.
That's awesome.
And she was picked up by the cops, and when John showed up to collect her at 2:30 in the morning, he arrived in a suit, freshly shaved, as if he was going to the fucking office.
I don't know why that scares
you are
me.
crazy.
But that really scares me. Like this idea that in order to go, like he had to like make sure that I look as tight as possible and I look as good and as conservative as I can be. He had to shave before going to the police station.
Yeah. Now, a month earlier, John had freaked out on his daughter after seeing her wear a thin cotton t-shirt featuring a peace symbol and the slogan, "Make love, not war." It's the most typical fucking thing you could wear in
Make war, not
1971.
Yeah, what the hell? God wants us to fight, not have love. What is wrong with you?
But to John, a thin cotton t-shirt was an offense to God.
It's the only thing God ever did right was the thin cotton t-shirt.
He loved to wear those.
So, in the only violent act towards his family prior to the murders, John pushed his daughter against the wall and ripped off her shirt, all while calling both Patty and Helen, quote,
"You're sluts. Sluts. Dirty, dirty, filthy, filthy sluts.
Excuse me, are you searching Pornhub?
Sluts." No, it's just the title of my favorite book.
Oh, I see. Well, that'll show her. Take her shirt off completely. That'll show her how to be modest.
He then retreated to his office and blasted classical music, because that was the only thing he would listen to, was a classical music radio station. But Patty responded by playing Riders on the Storm as loud as she could.
Yeah, that was like when I used to
That's
in
awesome.
protest with my mom when I used to play Billy Joel's "I'm Moving Out."
Ooh, God, you were so
Sad.
Jesus
Did you
Christ.
really do that?
Oh yeah.
That is the. It's the most theatrical.
Queen's
I'm
motherfucker.
moving out.
Yeah, I was very theatrical. I used to wear a beret.
Well, after that, Patty and John List stopped speaking to each other altogether. Now, this was the biggest conflict that John had with his family up to that point, and it occurred the summer before John did what he did. But it wasn't necessarily what broke John List. See, by the summer of 1971, John was working as a home insurance salesman, earning only $5,000 a year, which was a fraction of what he'd been making just a few years before. And this wasn't really even a job in which he was particularly skilled. And at the same time, he had 3 mortgages on his house, totaling almost $50,000. In addition to that, he also owed $1,000 in heating bills trying to keep their gigantic fucking house warm, and his family had run up a $150 tab with the milkman.
I bet they did.
Guess what, man? When that milkman, he brings the milk, but guess what? The milkman, he'll take the milk.
Yes, he will. Oh, my goodness. Little vitamin D milk. Hello. Okay, get out of here.
I hate you.
Yeah, you do.
I love you, though.
Yeah, you do. Contractually obligated to like me.
I do like that about us.
The final straw, though, came when the house came under foreclosure. And John was faced with bankruptcy.
And guess who had no clue any about this shit? Helen had no clue any of this shit was happening.
I mean, would she have been able to help if he told her?
No, she would just call him a pussy or whatever, but it's
Yeah.
still at the same time, she didn't know.
What a
She was
nightmare.
waiting into.
I mean, really, these kinds of murders often do come from the one income household. Like we saw that in the Chris Watts case, like her fucking, the MLM that she was, involved in, she wasn't bringing in any money from that. There's something about like this, like one income, like the housewife, like not working. Which is fine if that works for you.
Sure, absolutely.
It's economic in basis, but it's too simple of an answer of like how then can someone callously just wipe out an entire family? That's a thing. Of
It's
course,
not
it's a component,
no, it's not an
maybe.
answer at all. But it's a component that comes up again and again and again.
Yeah.
So, faced with financial ruin and stuck with a family he didn't approve of or even particularly like, John started searching for the escape hatch. Now, he couldn't just cut and run with a divorce because divorce was, of course, strictly forbidden by his beliefs.
Divorce is gross.
Okay.
Going
to use the word ironic in this situation, knowing what happens.
He also couldn't commit suicide because suicide was a one-way ticket to hell. There was the option of simply killing Helen and running, but his mother was too old to care for the kids, and the kids would be traumatized besides.
And that's a bummer.
Yeah, super bummer.
Oh, I wonder what the answer is going to be.
Now, of course, there was the most reasonable and humane option, which was to declare bankruptcy and at most slide down to lower middle class. At most. And maybe be forced to take some kind of assistance.
Sell the mansion, get a smaller downsize, get another job. Like, just do it again. You just keep living. You live your life.
Yeah.
And do things.
Just live a normal life in a 4-bedroom house. Sure. That's all you need.
Yeah. But to John, going on welfare was literally a fate worse than death. A shame so deep that the actual murder of his entire family, including his mother, which broke 2 of the 10 commandments, would weigh easier on his conscience than taking a single check from the government.
That's just 20%.
Wild.
I'm 80% good with the 10
fucking
commandments.
Wild.
As far as just abandoning his family went, John believes that his absence would cause the children to drift away from the church because Helen wasn't a churchgoer. So leaving would be tantamount to damning his children to hell.
You can just see him on a whiteboard putting all of these on a list and then just the equal sign murder.
He did
equals
truly,
murder. Like everything just
like
circles
this.
back to murder.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is the worst option of all.
He wrote it all out. He did.
Yeah. Furthermore, Helen was dying. She had come down with paresis, which was a terminal disease of the brain, sometimes linked to late-stage syphilis. That meant that leaving would, at the very least, condemn the children to poverty, which, again, was worse than death. But the one option that John had that he could ask forgiveness for, and God would be totally cool with it because God will forgive him for doing it, was murder.
Wipe out.
Oh man, that song it works in every situation. Oh my goodness.
So John settled on a murderous cut and run. That way he could leave his debts behind while everyone else went to heaven. And with all the millstones around his neck gone, he would be free to restart his life as a new man in America. And that's where we'll pick back up for the conclusion of the John List story.
Just like
Back in.
Feifel, if Feifel killed his whole family and escaped to this great country.
Wow.
All right.
Wowie wow. We're going to get to his systematic destruction of his family and his escape next week. And then we got got to relax it for you after that. Then we got a UFO story, and then we got our big old redo.
Ooh, all
Big
right.
redo.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you all so much for listening to this episode. And if you are staring at your husband or wife right now, give them a hug.
Yeah.
Give him a hug.
Hugs, not guns to their back of their head. I've always said that.
Just say, if there's a bad thing you want to say, it's so much easier to just say it than kill the family.
Say it, get into a small fight, and then
Go get into a big fight.
or have sex with you, and then you have sex with each other afterwards.
Sometimes,
That's what I heard anyway.
I know
don't
it's also the truth is sometimes you need to get to that big fight that finally ends things.
Totally.
You need to have that fight. It's better for you to it's better for you to have the fight than systematic execution.
And the nice thing about age is you actually see yourself getting up to that fight now, and you can't stop it.
Yeah. Oh,
you know
no,
what I'm
you
saying?
see
Like
the
when
fight coming.
You're like, wow, it's actually,
Yeah.
and I know it's
coming.
happening,
Yeah.
and I can see it's happening, but you can't do anything to stop it.
No, because you are technically that's a healthy expression of everyone's they're communicating.
Everybody farts and everybody fights, so just do it with love.
And everybody fucks and everybody shits.
We've said it
Not
before.
everybody fucks. Not everyone
everybody.
does shit. Yeah.
Yep. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening. Also, we have some big weed news. Thank you all so much for filling out our survey. If you haven't done that, let's see. Where's the best place for people to find us? The Last Podcast Network Twitter?
Go to the Insta LP on
Yeah.
the left, and we will be posting our survey. We're still trying to figure out where we're going to drop our new weed at. So anywhere in California, and we looks like, and we've got some really great suggestions for charities as well.
Yes, we did.
wanna
So
say
we're
thank you.
looking at Last Prison Project right now.org, Last Prisoner Project.org. Check them out. We did a little research on them, and it looks extremely
really
reputable.
cool.
And we've got to help because, as I've said on Abling Us Top 8 thousands of times, criminal justice reform is the biggest social issue of our time, the social rights issue of our time. And we live in a nation where millions of people are incarcerated that don't deserve to be, and we must do something about it.
And it ruins lives for no reason. And also, come check out my Twitch show this weekend on Saturday.
What are you doing on Civ 6? Who are you going to kill?
Right now, I'm looking at Egypt. I'm coming right forward. That's the truth. I'm coming right for Egypt. I'm there 2:30 PST this Saturday. Twitch.tv/Last Podcast Network. Domination of everything. We're killing Egypt this week.
That's Egypt. Egypt deserves it. They've had it too good for too long
coming
because
for 'em.
everything is so peaceful over there right now.
Shouldn't have settled so close to me.
Yeah, it's entirely their fault.
Everyone has to go.
I guess.
And we're all working on our Twitch shows. I got a Twitch show that's coming up soon. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the content's going to be, but it is going to be video game based. And I'll just give you the title. It's going to be called Till Death Do Us Part.
Yeah, dog.
Oh,
I love this
my
idea.
goodness.
too.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure many of our video game listeners out there, video game players, can figure out what the fuck that's going to be all about.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to kick some booty at football at some point, and maybe even a little basketball, and maybe a little whatever. We'll have a lot
But
of fun
nothing
with it.
physical. This is all games.
This is all
Yeah.
game. That's the only way you can beat people up nowadays. You can only do it cerebrally via conference call in your own home playing a video game.
You can do a cough off.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
Check out the other shows on LPN Network. We got a Page 7. We got Abe Lincoln's Top Hat. That's got to be fun these days. We've
It
got
is fun.
No Dags in Space. They just wrapped up their season, and we
Yep.
will be coming back, I guess, vaguely soon, like 2 or 3 months.
And I have a new
Yeah.
podcast coming out called No Dogs in the Tub. Which is
They're crammed in here.
it's just, I can barely
we did-
sit down.
Yeah, we just finished season 1. We're going to be coming back with season 1.5 here in about 2 months with a band that I think everybody's going to love. But yeah, we just finished up season 1, 10 bands. We finished up with the Screamers, which is a fantastic story.
When are you
about,
going to
a
do the
little
Flying
known-
Burrito Brothers?
Well, I mean, maybe the Flying Burrito Brothers could be. We can cover Graham Parsons at some point.
Graham Parsons is cool. He also shot me down when I said Alice in Chains.
What are we even doing here? What are we even doing
I don't even know. I don't know.
Alice in Chains. I don't fucking get it,
The
man.
rooster?
I'm sorry.
What do you mean the rooster?
I'm a man in a
Help yourselves, everyone.
Hail Satan.
Magustalations.
Algain.
Hail me, man. Just sometimes you're the man in the box, and sometimes you're Spoon Man.
Yeah, sometimes you're the
Spoon
rooster.
Man.
Yeah. Sometimes
Depends.
you're not the rooster.
Sometimes you're one of
Sometimes you're
these
the
dead
creep.
guys. Yeah, one of these guys, and they're all dead.
Honestly, Alice in Chains Chains, as far as that goes, wasn't the worst band of that era.
I love Alice in Chains. That's why I suggested it.
I just don't. I'm sorry. Neither one of us get it.
I get it. That's your show.
You should
It's
be
your
in the
show.
car when we're fucking listening to Lithium and Alice in Chains comes on for the third time that fucking hour.
It is overplayed on Sirius XM. That is true.
I just like a song that has only 3 lyrics, but it's 3 minutes long.
Yeah,
because
man,
they stretch
you
it
get
out.
into the vibe.
Stretch it out.
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.